These are 5 things you can declutter in your kitchen today, like right now.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead.
Hi guys, I'm Danielle, homeschooling mother of 7. We are talking about decluttering. We are talking about making progress today, right now. The first is the container that holds all of your spoons and spatulas. Sits right there on the counter by the stove, and it gets more and more spoons shoved in there until it's just overflowing. That's the first thing. It's so easy. You can literally go there right now while I'm talking. Pull out the ones you like the best. If you have duplicates, if you have 5 noodle grabbers, it begs the question, do you need 5? Maybe only 1. Let's get that little container to a point where it's not a source of frustration every time you have to shove something in, or every time you pull something out and about 17 other things follow. This year, I want us to take a good look at how attached we are to things. Oftentimes, there's an emotional attachment to a thing that is improperly placed. We have a guilt attached to that thing because we've spent money on that, or someone spent money on that and gave it to us. We don't want to get rid of it or throw it away because that would be wasteful. I do have a problem with that. I do not like to be wasteful. I'm extremely frugal. But keeping all of this stuff at what cost? At what cost mentally? At what cost emotionally? Every time you enter your house, there should be a sense of peace. This year, I'm being super aware of my stress reactions towards the things in my house. And if I have one repeatedly that's not, connected to some other thing that's going on in my life, I want to address that. I do not want to be constantly having stress reactions when I look at areas in my home. And I'm tackling the kitchen first because this is a place I spend the highest percentage of time in my day. Number 2, your Tupperwares. Tupperwares are something that are always increasing. You will go through them maybe once a year, maybe once every 6 months. And then every 6 months, there will be an increase. Sometimes you just say the Tupperwares that food comes in to reuse them once or twice. It gets overwhelming, and then drawers won't shut, or you cannot find a lid, which is super frustrating. Any way we can just eliminate some of the frustrations in our life, that's what we're going for. 3, mugs. I've talked about this before. How many mugs do you need? Go into your cabinet right now. Get rid of the first 3 you see that you do not like or that have cracks or chips. Don't get too emotional about these. I know it's better to rehome stuff. We feel guilty about throwing it away.
But nobody wants it.
Even the thrift store people don't want it. I always ask myself that about my kids' clothes. I'm like, I feel bad about throwing this away. There's no holes in it, but nobody wants this. It's stained or it's ugly. Let go. Let go of some of the stuff when it's actually not adding value to our life. I have one area for mugs. I do have more than I need. That's where I'm at right now. Okay, so wherever you're at, even if you could just get rid of one right now, it will make you feel better. Next, you're gonna open up your cabinets. If you get juice boxes and you just stick the whole container in there. If you shop in bulk, so you have big cases of stuff and you just stick the cases in your cupboards or you stick them in your pantry, take the casing off. Get rid of the cardboard. Get rid of the plastic containers. All right, your glass jars. Wherever you stash your glass jars, you're gonna go in and you're gonna divide that amount by half. Maybe you only keep a couple. I just keep glass jars. Maybe it's just my problem, but I don't need all of them. We do use glass jars for most of our drinking. I recognize my children are hard on everything. I'm not gonna buy more glass products. I'm just gonna use what I have. However, because you're constantly buying food that comes in a glass jar, you are always getting more. I like to save the ones that have good working lids, and I use those a lot for stashing stuff in my fridge, whether soup or small amounts of leftovers, but then the rest, just throw them away. Then you're just gonna take a quick peek at your windowsills and your surface and see if there's any type of decorative clutter that you don't like. It's actually cluttering the surface. We always have a lot of appliances anyway that are useful, that are on the counter. We don't need decorative stuff. So simplify it, just real quick, simplify it right now. I noticed that on my window ledge, I have a thick window ledge. I always keep my timers because we use them all the time. However, they add some visual clutter, so I'm just gonna stash those in a drawer. This helps with the visual clutter and I can still access them really easily. Since we're in the kitchen, just tell me, is there one spot in your kitchen that is a clutter grabber? Is there a clutter collector in your kitchen? I have one of those. I have a corner. Let me tell you, it is the clutter collector of the century. Everybody likes to put their stuff here, but most especially my husband. He does like to put his stuff here. And I get it. It's because we have our plugs for our cell phones right there. Those are the ones we've been using for so long that is just super hard to break the habit. I have tried this for a while, tried breaking the habit. Instead of getting frustrated about this little spot, because I wasn't seeing any progress. And it wasn't my retraining so much as retraining 8 other people in my house, give or take. And that's a problem we have as moms. You can't just force an issue all the time. So what can I do with that little clutter collector that doesn't include me losing my mind or yelling at everybody? And I came up with something that would be a little bit more visually appealing, but still would allow people to just dump their clutter there and then take care of it later. It's this copper looking bin, and it says wine, but obviously nothing that exciting in there. My husband can come and set his stuff down. I'm not going bonkers because everyone's always putting stuff in my cleanly cleared counter space. My children and my husband are still using those plugs. It kind of hides it. I can stick the phones or whatever's being plugged in inside the bin and they still get plugged in. It's not a permanent solution, but it is a solution for right now, today. So what can you do if you have a clutter collector spot in your kitchen? What can you do to bring a solution today that doesn't include ruining everyone else's day because they're not accommodating you in your newfound desire to declutter everything? Probably isn't a newfound desire. It's probably a deeply rooted, hopeful desire that you've always had. All right, guys, taking back our house one day at a time this year. As always, thank you for joining me. Remember, no one can mom your kids like you.